personnel who were killed when their refueling plane crashed in Donald Trump's new war zone took place at Dover Air Force Base. Donald Trump was in attendance this time after he skipped the second dignified transfer of his war. This time, Donald Trump did not demean the event by wearing a ridiculous hat. It was closed to the press at the request of the families, but one of the families has already seemed to indicate that Donald Trump is to blame for the death of Air Force Sergeant Tyler Simmons, age 28, of Columbus, Ohio. Here's what Sergeant Simmons' grandmother and cousin said on Monday.
This could have been prevented. We didn't need to be in this war. You know, this is uncalled for. And this is what we get.
Families are suffering right now. Not only our family, but there are other families that's lost loved ones. And just to create a war because you want to create a war, it's not right. It is not right.
The other 5 members of the Air Force who went down on that plane were Major John Klinner, 33, of Auburn, Alabama, Captain Ariana Savino, 31, of Covington, Washington, Sergeant Ashley Pruitt, 34, of Bardstown, Kentucky, Captain Seth Koval, 38, of Stoutsville, Ohio, and Captain Curtis Angst of Wilmington, Ohio, age 30. Today, Sergeant Tyler Simmons' mother said this in an interview with CBS.
The knock on the door, you're hoping that it's not a knock that, you just don't want. And when they knocked on the door and Milo answered the door, I heard him say, "Oh no." And I knew. And it was, and from there on, life would never, ever, ever be the same. It will never be the same. He was our only child, grandchildren we won't have, him being married. And, he wanted to be married. He wanted to have children. Everything stopped. It just stopped. And, that's hard. It's hard and it's hurtful, But he was an impact to this world. He was a hero to his family. He was a hero to his friends. They loved him and he loved them. He was a man of purpose. And in his 28 years, I just thank God that he was the way he was. I mean, and Tyler was, "Mom, I'm doing this. I understand the risk. And I know this is what it's going to take. I know I could lose my life." He said, "But this is what I want to do. I was born for this." And so, how can you fight with that?
There was obviously no imminent threat to the United States coming from Iran that justified Donald Trump starting a war. Sergeant Simmons' family is right about that. And they got confirmation of that. It came from Donald Trump's director of the National Counterterrorism Center, who resigned on Tuesday and publicized his resignation letter to Donald Trump, saying there was no imminent threat that justified Donald Trump's war in Iran. Joe Kent worked in an intelligence community run by Director of National Intelligence Tulsi Gabbard, who refused to contradict Joe Kent's resignation letter yesterday. Tulsi Gabbard also refused to contradict Joe Kent today in Senate testimony. Tulsi Gabbard was offered an opportunity to say that she agreed with Donald Trump's claim that there was an imminent threat from Iran, and she publicly refused to agree with Donald Trump. And so the question for Tulsi Gabbard tonight is, will she quit or be fired because of what is now her obvious public disagreement with Donald Trump on his war in Iran? Joe Kent was a hardcore Trump supporter until Donald Trump launched his war in Iran. And now Joe Kent is talking to other hardcore Trump supporters who are opposed to Donald Trump's war. Here's what he said tonight.
The argument that there was an imminent threat, as in Iran was planning to attack us immediately, that just simply did not exist. And we always assessed that they were either several months or a year, 2 years away from actually being able to develop a nuclear